G'day there guys, Marky here, and welcome back to another episode of r/relationship advice. With that said, sit back, relax, chuck a prawn to the barbie, let's get right into it. Cheers. I'm alone after ruining 2 friendships by being jealous. I, 16, had 2 friends who we will call Lisa, 16 female, and Charles, 17 male. Both of them have been my friends since we were little. A few changes, but they had always been the friends who I could count on when something happened. Last year, they got together. I rooted for them and tried to help them become a couple. What I didn't expect was jealousy. I don't have feelings for either of them, but it was obvious that both of them having someone else to rely on and starting to spend time together alone, like all couples do, affected me. I, unconsciously, started to get mad because I felt like I was being pushed away and losing both of my friends, and eventually noticed them actually getting distant with me. Suddenly, I didn't know what to share with them because I felt like I was crossing some boundaries, but it was obvious that I did make them uncomfortable in other ways that I didn't notice until now. All vacation, our friend group, who is them, a few friends more, and I, didn't hang out. When we did hang out, we were in bigger groups and neither of them really talked to me at all. I tried to be a part of it, but I was too socially awkward and anxious to be being a burden. When class started, this became even more obvious since I was left out. They don't talk to me and make me feel awkward when I try to talk to them. After talking with my psychologist, I decided to talk to them to find out that I was the problem. They confessed that they had issues with me, and Lisa was the one who actually told me that the problem was that I have made her feel like it was her fault that Charles didn't talk to me, and she became jealous for some attitudes I had. I truly don't know which ones, but I'm sure that if they made her feel bad, then I was wrong. To be clear, I must say that I told Lisa and Charles some comments that I thought were jokes about the both of them stealing my best friend. I know for sure now that those comments were out of place and that I did wrong by saying those things and getting mad instead of making them know that the problem was I and not their relationship. Neither them. Now I am left alone since they are way more liked in my classes. They have more friends and they aren't the big asshole like I have been. In some way, my jealousy and fear of losing them ended up making me lose them. I think what hurts the most is that now I'm just alone to feel this burden, knowing that they had forgiven me, but that I can't go back and I will never have that relationship that I appreciated so much. Thanks for reading. Sorry if there were mistakes, English isn't my first language. Know that the names are fake and that I truly just want to talk to someone. In the comments, NarutoFan0921 says, "You're gonna make a lot of mistakes in your life, especially being as young as you are. But all that you can do with the mistakes is take them, reflect from them, and grow from them, so the same mistakes are never made again. If something like this or similar to it were to ever happen again, go about your life as normal. It's normal for couples to grow closer together and spend more time with each other, which may make you feel a little left out. It's a normal reaction. Don't let yourself be affected by it or take their time alone together personally. Keep doing you and don't let the negative voice in your head speak at all. Dude, you're 16. You've got a long way ahead of you. Try to find some hobbies and make new friends. Try not to think about them anymore. Just see them as complete strangers. That would make the transition easier." And now onto the update, titled, "By ruining 2 friendships, I found somewhere where I feel comfortable." Hey, this is an update for my last post since various things happened this month. So a bit of context, a few weeks ago, I, 17, noticed my friends who are a couple acting weirdly suddenly. I reached out to Lisa, since she was the one who was treating me the worst. Didn't talk to me, answered dryly, and overall ignored me, asking what was going on after Charles told me that I'd done a few things wrong. By the time of the post, I knew nothing more than what Lisa told me, who didn't really give me the attitudes that I had, but how I made her feel. I felt like shit. I really just wanted to vent because I thought I didn't have who to talk to since they were ignoring me and Lisa had told me that it was alright, but that she forgives but not forgets. I was ashamed. These two friends had been in my life for almost all of my life. The next day I built up the courage and confessed the situation to my mum, who told me to talk to Charles and made me realize a few things from Lisa's messages. Now is when I get more mad than sad. By talking with the couple, the problem at the end was the attitudes that I had all my life with my close friends, like bullying in a form of love, only joking, had become something Charles, who was the one that I did this to the most because I knew Lisa didn't like it, didn't like. This, of course, they talked to the group and didn't tell me. The fact that I had expressed that I felt left out by the couple had made them uncomfortable. I made jokes around it since they asked me to hang out so that they could go out and always arrived late to the hangout, or I asked to hang out and they couldn't because they had to do things, and the whole week then went out or didn't watch movies when we hang out to watch movies because they didn't like new things and just ignored it, and that it wasn't true that they excluded me. The whole group have apparently talked about it and didn't tell me, but they ended up leaving me out and excluding me because I had said that it made me uncomfortable too many times. And finally, that I had made Lisa feel like she had stolen my best friend. Again, I had made jokes to Lisa and Charles about stealing my best friend. It has always been for both of them. So with this, I found out that it was a topic to which they had talked about with the whole friend group, but didn't talk to me because they didn't want me to feel bad. This made me mad. I shared it with my psychologist, family, and a friend because I was mad. I didn't understand why they didn't have the trust to tell me when I was bothering them so much. For me, this was new. I especially got mad because Lisa and Charles know that I have problems with friendships. It took me years of doubt with myself when I'm with them, and suddenly classes start and I was ignored by them. The week after we talked, Charles was ignoring me, making me uncomfortable to talk to him, instead of Lisa, who had done this until I said sorry like 1,000 times, the day of the original post. Now to the positive part that I wanted to share. I knew what I had done wrong and apologized, but now I was mad, sad, and lonely for a good 2 weeks. I can even say now, but I'm far more comfortable with the idea of them mad at me or not, since both said nothing was wrong before just ignoring me. I had started theatre, so I was hopeful of the space. And it seems I was right. In less than a week, the group from the theatre had made me more comfortable with myself than I have ever felt with my classmates. Suddenly, I had a group where I could be weird, talk about musicals, films, sing, and do stupid things, and I wasn't judged. I was even open with my sexuality, and they didn't even mind when my other friends made comments making me feel unsafe. This group made me feel comfortable enough to actually chat with other friends who made me feel comfortable too, but lived far away. It still makes me kind of uncomfortable talking in chat, since I feel like a bit of a burden, but I do it more. Also, for the first time, I don't feel like a weirdo in general. I see hope for me going on in my life, something that I've never felt before when I had a problem. It might be a lot for people I just knew, but this just proves that they are people who like me being weird and how I am. We will see if it's a problem for a long time or not. Until then, I will be comfortable with how I feel. I had waited so long to make this. First, because nobody asked for an update, but also, I wanted to see what happened on my birthday. This week it was my birthday. My classmates were polite about it. Lisa and Charles had forgot and needed reminders. I didn't organize anything with my friends from school because I was scared of making someone uncomfortable and because I wanted to see if they wanted to do something, if they told me. But nothing happened. I decided instead to celebrate with a new group. When I told them it was my birthday, they asked to hang out, and since then, they sent messages asking what I was going to do. Yesterday, I celebrated it. It was amazing. We sang, played Just Dance, talked, and especially, they were there. For the first time in years, it felt right to celebrate. I asked my mum what she thought, and she said, "It's the first time that you don't have to beg to do things that you want to do." Thanks to the few people who commented on the original post. I really followed the advice that you gave me, and I'm doing better, or at least I think I am. Thanks also for reading this. I really just needed to say this. Sorry if there's bad English and all the names are fake. In the comments, I'm glad everything worked out in the end, and oh lord, you could not pay me to be a teenager again. For real. I would love to have the knees that I had as a teenager, but I wouldn't want to relive learning how to interact with other human beings again. It's prickly and awful, and everyone is making mistakes and having the biggest feelings possible about all of them. I'm still learning, and will be forever. Probably, but those first few years are rough. Quote, I asked my mum what she thought and said, it's the first time you don't have to beg to do things that you want to do. Based on this statement, were Lisa and Charles actually friends, or someone only OP thought of as friends? Quote, like bullying in a form of love, only joking. Even if it's only joking to OP, it might not always feel like it to the one on the receiving end. And seriously, bullying in a form of love? There's nothing even remotely close to a form of love in bullying. People are overlooking this, along with all of OP's other red flags, because I guess this is a you should feel bad for OP story. They honestly seem insufferable. I mean, in all reality, what 16 or 17-year-old that's going through the motions like this isn't insufferable in some way or another? But let's be honest, they were a theater kid. They found out that they were a theater kid. That's where they need to be. No hate to theater kids. As you guys know, I'm a theater kid. I wasn't one in school, but I want to do theater now because I think it's sick. But I understand the stereotype. I understand why these people are so, off-putting to some people. That's completely fine. Again, I'm just glad that OP found her people, because if you're socially isolated and feeling down on yourself without that connection for so long, that can really harm your social development and your upbringing. Keen to see how that develops, because I also know that theater and choir kids can be pretty toxic and cause drama, so that'll be fun for OP. She gets to navigate those new waters. Good luck! Our next post is by user ApartLandscape220, and it's titled, Am I the arsehole here for not wanting to help with my niece's party? So my older sister, 29 female, and my brother-in-law, 28 male, have struggled financially for basically their entire adult lives. They became parents to 3 girls really young, so I've always tried to give them grace and help them where I can. Last year, my son turned 2. We had his birthday party about 2 weeks early because his actual birthday is usually too cold for outdoor stuff where we live. My husband and I invited my sister to do a combined birthday party at our house for my niece, who was turning 8 around the same time. Because money was tight for them, and because they were stressing about costs constantly, I ended up paying for basically everything for my niece's side too. Decorations, food, cake, etc. I had already rented a bounce house for my son, but upgraded it so that older kids could use it too. I also promised my other 2 nieces, 11 and 10, that I'd help make their birthday special this summer because they didn't have a party last year due to their parents' finances. So now, their party is coming up in June. This past weekend, my nieces called me asking if I was still helping plan it. Obviously I said yes because I love them and would never want to disappoint them. At first, sister wanted to do the party at a park. My nieces didn't even want that because it'll be hot, humid, or raining. I suggested renting out an arcade in my city and doing a Stranger Things themed arcade party for 3 hours. The girls were so excited about it. Then, my sister shut it down immediately because she said the 50 people that she invited wouldn't want to drive 25 minutes. Here's the thing. Most of these people aren't even there for the kids. Half of them don't have children, won't bring gifts, and are basically just my brother-in-law's family and friends who turn every event into smoking, drinking, loud music, and drama. My nieces didn't even want a lot of them there in the first place. Meanwhile, I offered to pay for the arcade rental, food, decorations, cake, basically everything. But my sister still refused because she wants everyone to be able to come. At that point, I told her if the priority is hosting a giant cookout for adults instead of an actual kid's birthday party, then she can pay for it herself. Now we're arguing about what I should still contribute financially, and honestly I'm frustrated, because they're planning to feed 50 people while barely having groceries at home. I literally had to DoorDash dinner to their family recently because they had no food. At this point, I'm just considering mailing my nieces their gifts and stepping away from the whole thing. Am I the asshole here? In the comments, stop arguing. You offered a kid's party as your gift to your nieces, just like the one for their 8-year-old sister. That is all that you are offering, not an adult booze party. Your sister can take it or leave it. If she doesn't want the kid party at a park or an arcade, she can do her own thing. Next time, I suggest you do not make promises to children. OP says, I will no longer be making promises that I intend to keep, but ultimately involve another, bigger, decisive counterpart. My sister. Worst mistake of my life. My poor nieces are miserable. Downvoted commenter says, I think it is very nice that you want to celebrate your nieces knowing that their parents are broke. However, you kind of undermined the parents by planning a different celebration with the kids. I would offer my sister the amount of money that you plan to spend on the arcade. Please do not use your money as a weapon. The kids have it bad enough. And OP says, I would never weaponize any money. I also wouldn't just hand over $350 plus to my poorly financially educated sister. It will be gone, and nothing for the party will be bought. How did she issue invitations without knowing the venue? OP says, she used Facebook. Apparently, it doesn't have you put a venue in, and you can leave it blank. She posted in the event and said the location is TBD. I wouldn't go as far as to say that you're the asshole, because you obviously don't have to pay for a big birthday party, but it sounds like you have a lot of judgments and assumptions about your brother-in-law's family, and are using your initially kind offer to impose those judgments and assumptions. OP says they are not assumptions. I have known this family very well for about 11 years now. I'm only 25. They have been around for 11 birthday parties. It is always the same outcome. Drunk, fights, drama, and my nieces get about 2 gifts from 25 people. You should say, what are you doing planning such a huge event on my dime when you can't even afford dinner? Not the asshole. And now onto the update. So, update time since some people were asking for one. For starters, I told my sister ahead of time that I will not be attending the party due to my brother-in-law's extremely annoying family, and I will not be helping with the costs because it's not what they want to do. Instead of attending, I sent my nieces money over Cash App 2 days after posting the original post and agreed to take them down to the arcade next week for another birthday party. My sister and brother-in-law took their money and used it to buy fast food for themselves, my 3 nieces, and my brother-in-law's aunt. So there's that. Let's cut to this past Sunday, their birthday party. It stormed the entire time, and about 45 minutes before the party ended, it got extremely humid and gross. Their decorations were destroyed, the food was rained on, it was a mess. Just as I assumed, there were about 30 people there, and they received 2 gifts each, and around $150 each from their grandpa, my sister's father. Mine and my sister's great aunt and their aunt, my brother-in-law's sister. One niece had no friends there because of the storm, and the other had a friend show up for about 30 minutes and left because of the rain. Barely any kids were there. My nieces are very much looking forward to going to the arcade and getting some boba. They seemed so disappointed in their birthday party, and I am genuinely upset for them. I wish they would have had a better party, but I will always strive to give them the best, even if I look foolish. In the comments, so the nieces got nothing? Why did you give them money instead of taking them somewhere? I think it was obvious to everyone reading this what would happen to it. OP says, we are very much still going to the arcade. I said that in the post. I sent them money because they were going to the skating rink and wanted to buy some stuff. They didn't get to go. Another commenter says, absolutely agree. How did she send money to a 10-year-old thinking the parents wouldn't intercept it? OP says, they have their own cards through Cash App kid accounts. I didn't expect my sister to snatch it out. Another commenter asks, how about open a new bank account under your name and you hold the money for them until they're old and independent enough? Also, for in the future, if they have a job, it can be deposited into that account. I don't know if you can actually protect your sister's kids from your sister's lifetime of willful financial incompetence. Their selfishness, short-sightedness, greed, and laziness seems endless. Clearly your sister is irresponsible, as she's the kind of person to have kids when she can't afford them, but have the mindset of family helps family, or some sort of other bullshit. I agree with the other posts. Take them for a fun birthday day every year, or every year it's going to be a shit show. I like the idea of setting up bank accounts for them in your name so their parents can't touch shit. Give them a yearly budget of say $150. They can blow it all or spend $20 on a cheap meal and bank the rest. If they do this, by the way, I'd personally just pay the full $150 so they get the concept of saving money. At 18 years old, they get the balance to do whatever they want with. When they're 18, set up bank accounts in their names that their parents cannot access unless they want to commit fraud. There is poorly financially educated, as OP describes their sister, and then there's being a horrible leech. Guess which one I think the sister is? Those poor kids. Why not both? Well, the intention is usually different. One is often making poor decisions based on ignorance/lack of understanding or foresight, despite wanting to make a good decision, while the other one is deliberately prioritizing bad decisions for selfish reasons. Yeah, my older brother is a financial mess, but he wouldn't steal money from his kids. He does right by his kids. He's just also awful with money and always has been. I definitely know the difference between being bad with money, like being poorly financially educated, and just being a gigantic fucking leech. And those people that can be financial leeches to their children, to kids that are like 10 and below, I like to personally ascribe those people with sociopathy. Because if they are willingly taking this money off of those children for complete shit, like in this instance, then who knows what else they're capable of. I've seen many examples in my life of very incredibly sociopathic behavior from people that do that. So yes, my judgment is clouded and biased. I will completely accept that. And therefore, I would tell OP, take the suggestions in the comments, protect those children financially as much as you can so that they can still reap the benefits of the money that is given to them and learn proper financial spending and habits, while also learning how to put up proper boundaries with their lovely leech parents. Very lovely leeches, those ones. Blood-sucking vampires, more like. Anyway, guys, that's all I have for you today. I do hope you enjoyed the episode. If you did, let me know what you thought of it in the comments down below, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.